So today I am going to be planting carrots in my leaf mold. So how do you plant carrots into leaf mold? It's a direct sow type of thing. So we're going to figure out how to do that. I'll show you some tricks that will help get you some really good germination results with your carrots as well. I got to cover up some cabbage and broccoli so that the cabbage moths don't get them. And I'm going to be telling you, why do I let certain weeds grow in my garden? And I'll show you some of them. And they're probably things that you wouldn't think that I'd like to have. So stick around and let's go. My loyal followers and I'm gonna go get some wood because I want to plant some carrots. Can you imagine having these guys follow you around all day? They're so cute. So I like to plant my carrots with some wood over top of them because I don't have anything for them. They just like to follow. So I put some wood over top of them to keep the moisture in, because when I plant my carrots into the garden, I have to move aside the leaf mold, and so that dirt and soil is not keeping its moisture as much as it would if the leaf mold is on top of it. So I get some wood and I put it on top. I think I learned that from like M.I. Gardener or something like that, but it's a great tip and he's a smart guy. And so if you haven't seen his videos, you should definitely watch them because they're super good. Okay, let me get some wood. This is our, I'm sure if you have a barn or shed or something like that, there's that one area where you just like keep everything. This is that spot for us. Okay, so I got my wood and now off to the garden, and let's see if we can get these seeds in before it starts raining. So today I didn't do a whole lot in the garden because my kids got to have a lemonade stand, and we live way out in the middle of nowhere, and so being able to have a lemonade stand is kind of a big deal for us because it's not happening at our house, that's for sure. There's a big community yard sale, and so we thought that was the perfect opportunity to get them out there with their little table, their little sign. It was super cute. They made so much money and promptly spent it all on toys from the other vendors. But they had a blast, and I'm so happy that I was able to help facilitate, give them that experience, because that's one of those things where when you live out in the country, you can't really give your kids that too much. You know, there's sacrifices that you have to make when you live in the country, and not all of them are bad, not all of them are good, but they're definitely sacrifices. Like, my kids can't rollerblade. We have no spot near us. Hold on. There we go. There's my wood. We have no pavement near us. We have gravel road, rock roads. We have dirt roads. That's basically all that we have. So skateboarding, roller skating, things like that, which my one daughter would absolutely love to do, and she wishes she could do all the time. But at the same time, the trade-off is they get to go make forts in the woods. They get to make trails around the mountain. They get to, go take care of their chickens, and we're going to be getting goats and all sorts of stuff like that. So there's a trade-off. They're happy, we're happy. But if there's an opportunity where I can give them a chance to have something so quintessential to childhood like having a lemonade stand, I'm going to do that. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity today. And then we went to the river and we hung out, went to some waterfalls, and it's called Lace Falls, and it's just gorgeous. We got to go there with some family today. It was a good day. It was a really good day. Okay, figured out where the carrot's gonna go because I had my handy dandy garden plan. Gotta move this out of the way. This is for my tomato trellis, and it might not look heavy, but it's got rebar inside of it to keep it super strong, because I have a bunch of rebar laying around. My father-in-law was a machinist and he worked with metal, and so we end up with having tons of rebar everywhere. So that's how I keep my tomato trellis bars sturdy, even with the weight of the tomatoes that will eventually be hanging on them. Now, let me show you something. I have carrots already growing, and they're doing a pretty good job. The ones in these rows are not coming up quite as much yet, but when I do carrots, I like to do it in a rotational manner. So I've got these, which are weeks ahead of what I'm going to be planting today, and then I've got another set that are just a couple weeks ahead. And those are right next to my beets that I planted the other day, and those are looking really good. Let me turn the camera around. Those beautiful Ruby Queen beets. Got some other beets, Bull's Blood, Detroit Dark Red. They're coming up. Super exciting. I love me some beets. Okay, so in order to get these to take, I need to get the leaf mold out of the way, and then I'm going to put the seeds in. And then I'm going to put the wood down after I water them. And I'm going to water them with my duck pond water because it's just the best. So, and that's going to keep the moisture down. And they don't need sun until they sprout. And so I'll just come out every day or so and look under the wood to see if they've sprouted or not. And once they do, then I'll take the wood off, which is why you don't see wood on top of the other carrots, because the wood got taken off. Okay, that went really well. I was short one little bit of wood, and so I improvised and put a piece of cardboard doubled up and then a rock on top. So I'm only going to keep these on here for a couple of days. As soon as they sprout up, then I'll take these down, and that's just to keep the dark on them, because they need dark in order to germinate, and also so that they can stay moist, and that's really important. The varieties that I planted today, and I always plant them in my rows in alphabetical order from the driveway side to the food forest side. And so I did the Atomic Red, I did a Black Nebula, which I got from a seed exchange. I got the Coral carrot. And if you notice, there's a carrot juice on there. We do lots of juice. So that's one of the reasons why we got that one. And then the Pusa rudhira. The juicing one, though, apparently it's very productive and vigorous. It's got deep orange roots that average 8 to 9 inches long and resist splitting, even when grown in heavier soils. Now, I don't have super heavy soils, but I do the no-dig method, and so my soil is not as soft as somebody who has tilled down 6 or 7 inches into their ground. Let's see. So the pusa is really good because it has really high antioxidant levels, which is really good. Good heat tolerance, great for juicing, superior protection, all that kind of stuff. So, and the atomic red, I am thinking that they are really good flavor, but also that they're medicinal, that there's a medicinal quality to them. And that's one of the reasons why I got them. There are cancer fighting agents in certain types of carrots, and like, I'm not saying if you eat a bunch of carrots, if you have cancer, you'll get rid of it, or it'll heal you. But when you combine a diet that is fighting the cancer along with whatever kind of treatment or steps that you're taking to fight it on top of that, then that just boosts whatever it is that you're doing. So that's really good. And if you're eating that when you don't have it, I can only assume that it would help you to keep that more at bay, which is good, because that's something that I really have to think about in my family. For myself and my kids, my entire family has had cancer, and so the likelihood of us having that gene is very high. And I just want to fill our diets with as much whole food and good food so that that they have the best chance possible. And I'd like to have a good chance too, because I would like to be around to see my great-grandchildren, and some of my family members are not able to do that because of cancer. So anyways, here's my carrots, and that's what I sowed today. I'm also going to do a few more things, but I wanted to point out a couple of things in my garden that as you're looking at the videos that I'm going to be putting out, that you might be questioning. So I have what some people would call weeds in my garden, and this is yellow dock. This is a really good medicinal, though, and I'm actually going to harvest that very soon because I don't want it to flower. I want to harvest the root before the flower appears on this. And then you'll see the yarrow. Now, I don't want the yarrow to be that big, and you can see how it spreads. It's coming out a little bit on the outsides of it. Now, some of this is carrots, but a bunch of this is yarrow, and so I'm gonna divide that. I'm gonna make that into a patch about this big very soon. Some of the things that I have are radishes, and those I'm saving for seeds. And then you'll see throughout the garden, I don't ever weed out my plantain. And so you can see it's growing in the pathway right there. And there's some growing right here, and I don't take those out. Now, all of this is medicinals. I don't really plant a whole lot of vegetables here. But you'll also see things like dandelion, and well, there's some radishes that just self-sowed right there from seeds from last year. But there's dandelion sporadically in the pathways even. But definitely, if there's dandelion in the beds, I'm going to keep the dandelion. And there's some more plantain. So the reason for this is because I planted a plantain bed in my herb garden up there 3 years ago, and it's supposedly perennial, the type that at least that I grew, and it wasn't, and it didn't work out. And so I had weeded out all of my plantain throughout the rest of the garden that year because I assumed that my plantain would come back, and it didn't. And so plantain is a really big medicinal herb that we use in our family. I make a lot of stuff out of plantain, tinctures, salves, stuff like that. And so I definitely want to have plantain. And so if it pops up somewhere, then I'm going to let it grow, and I'm going to use that as my resource for my plantain. I don't want to use the stuff out in the yard as much because that soil is just not as good, and I think that the nutrition in this soil is going to be a lot higher, and so the medicinal qualities are probably going to be a lot higher as well. And the dandelion, the same thing. I have a bed of dandelion up here. In fact, let me show you my bed of dandelion. So here is my dandelion bed, and it's right next to my chamomile. And I have learned that dandelion is incredibly hard to grow from seed. It's wild, and so it's going to do what it wants to do when it wants to do it. Same thing with burdock. I had a really hard time planting burdock from seed and getting it to do very much. So when dandelion or burdock is going to grow in my garden on its own, I'm going to welcome that, and I'm going to let it grow so that the roots can get nice and big, and then I can harvest them. And dandelion and burdock, when they grow in a looser soil, like the yard is very compacted, but the soil in my garden has been built up over the years, and so it's a lot looser of a soil. The roots can grow bigger, thicker, and stronger, and so and I believe also with a lot more medicinal qualities to them. And so I'm going to let them grow so that I can harvest those roots when they're nice and thick and use those for medicines. So that's why I have dandelion growing in my garden, and why I encourage it, because I tried to grow it from seed and it is just very difficult to do. So there's that. And you can see the cardboard is still on the ground. We're trying to kill the weeds, and then we're going to put mulch on top. So far, this is how much mulch we've gotten in here. I need to get another load. The place that I get my free mulch from is not letting the public take any mulch right now because they're using it for their own purposes, which is absolutely okay, and I think that's great. You know, just the fact that they provided it all for us is a wonderful thing. And so when they're ready, I will go back and I will get a whole bunch of it. But right now, I just gotta wait. And I think as a gardener, waiting is something that we're pretty good at. Okay, so another thing that I gotta do today is I gotta fix my row cover because I had it up too high, and I didn't have it tucked in underneath on the edge, and so the wind came and blew it away very easily. In order to protect my broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cabbage and stuff like that, I have got to get this row cover on so that they can stay safe. Oh, doesn't that look so much better? Nice and protected. At least for now. Just gonna make sure that there's no leaves smothering my sweet little spinach seedlings. Which reminds me about something I wanted to talk about. I was thinking, as I was making that video of the carrots, that some of you might be wondering, why go to all that trouble where you have to move the leaves aside and you can't direct sow straight into the leaves. You have to move things aside, make sure the leaves don't go back into the paths where the seeds that you direct sowed are. Why would you go through all that trouble when you could just have bare dirt and you could sow the seeds and be done with it? And you're right. It is definitely more work to have to move the leaves out of the way. And it is more work to have to go and just kind of check on your seedlings, make sure that the wind didn't blow a big pile of leaves on top of them. But it is so much less work than having to be out in the heat of summer watering your garden every day. It is so much easier than going out and having to weed your garden twice a week. I weed my garden twice a year, and I get high production. I water my garden. I should do more than I do, maybe. I mean, it just sounds bad saying it, but I get really high production and my garden does really well. But I water my garden maybe 3 or 4 times a year. But that's all it needs. And when I come over here and I feel underneath the leaves, the soil is damp. It's moist. It's a healthy, deep, rich, dark, moist soil. And as long as the soil is moist underneath the leaves, I don't worry about watering it. And so it is easier for me to come out here when it is cool and nice and it's not the heat of summer to check on my little baby seedlings, or when I plant my seeds to move the leaves away. And it might be a little bit annoying, but it is so much better than in the heat of summer, when the bugs are out and there's just like, it's miserable to be out here, and you're in your tank top and your shorts, and you're getting all itchy because you got the dirt on you and stuff like that, and the no-see-ums. And it is so much better to do the little bit of work now and be able to just kind of sit back and enjoy the garden later than it is to have to go through all that. So yes, leaf mold does create more of a problem when there is a direct sowing situation going on, but it is nothing like having to do all that work in the summer, and I am happy to do a little extra work now to get things really started well. So if that was a question, I hope I just answered it for you. If you have more questions, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section and ask your question there, and I'd be super happy to answer anything that you have questions about. I've got some more lettuce that I want to plant, and so I'm going to do that now since it's still not raining. I mean, I feel like I'm really pushing my luck right now as far as getting things in the ground and it not raining. It's probably going to downpour on me, but it's a good time to plant seeds. If it's going to rain, then the seeds are going to be happy. I was talking about yellow dock. Here. Yes, I even planted a yellow dock bed. Call me crazy, but I want good yellow dock for my medicine. And I don't want to get it out of the field where there might be chicken poop on it or something like that. I want the good stuff in the nice, deep, rich soil. And then there's other things in the garden too. Like this hen bit. Like I let this grow and flower because right now, as I look around, there is not a whole lot of flowers, maybe some on the trees, but other than that, there's not a lot of flowers, and I really want to make sure that there's as many flowers out as possible for the bees and all the pollinators. I want those butterflies and bees coming into my garden, and so once they stop flowering, I'll take them out. They're not taking up any room that my vegetables would need right now anyway. So okay, so I was talking about earlier how that chicken got my baby seedlings of some of my lettuce. Didn't get all of them, but it got some of them. And I've been so busy doing other stuff that I haven't had a chance to replace the lettuce seeds. And so I'm going to do that right now. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and then subscribe to my channel, because there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out like this almost every day. And then if you really love what you're seeing, then you can hit that notification button, and then you'll be notified whenever a new video comes out right away. Thank you so much for sticking around with me till the end, and have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Okay, I'd better go close up those chickens and the duck. I do have one hen who is sitting on some eggs. I'm very excited. Here she is. Hey, sweetheart. Oh, look at them all. Here's Knickers, our rooster. Dawn, our rooster. Our main rooster is back there. And then Danny, our lavender Americana is back there. She's my favorite. So the other night I was out here putting the chickens away, and I heard the first whippoorwill of the season. Very exciting. We really love whippoorwills. There's just something very magical about the sound of a whippoorwill. Ducks are so nice because you can herd them and they all stay together. Come on, guys. Into your pen. Come on. Come on. Chickens would be going crazy right now. Don't you even think about it, little brown. There you go. Go ahead. There you go, guys. Good job. No, stay in there. Stay in there. Nope. So you would not be able to herd the chickens like I was just able to do with the ducks. They would just go everywhere willy-nilly. But the ducks, they're smart. They know where to go. And they stay together. And you kind of just put them where you want them to go. Lead them, guide them. And they bring their cute little tushies right where they need to go.